Well, hello, friend. This is Waynell. Welcome to my channel. Here I share Christian content that is inspired by and or based on the Sunday school lessons. I serve both the international and the legacy lesson communities. And today I wanted to come on and share a devotional thought with you. Anytime I've completed a Bible study, it is about so much more to me than just the tactical elements of the story, but I'm always trying to figure out, what does God really want me to know? And then finding those areas that are maybe a personal challenge or an area for me to reconsider or to grow. And so I've just completed a Bible study on Luke chapter 24. If you want to see the full-blown Bible studies, there are two different ones. Actually, there are three. So I covered the entire Luke 24 study over 3 Bible studies on this channel, but it left me in the end really thinking about what it means to be a witness for God. And when you hear the term being a witness, for some people that is either really exciting or it is really daunting. And you can let me know in the comments, like, how do you feel about the idea of being called to the special assignment of being a witness? And when I talk to a lot of friends, especially when I'm talking to my young adult friends, you'll hear answers like, well, I'm not a preacher, or I don't need a fancy title, or I don't really know what that means. And so today I want to share with you 3 steps to becoming a confident witness. And are you a witness? Absolutely, you are. No matter where you are or what your experience is, God has called you to be a witness. It's not reserved for simply pastors or preachers or whatever fancy titles they're called in your faith community. You, in your space with your own unique experience, you are called to be a witness. And in Luke 24, Jesus commissions all of those who are following him in love and in truth to be his witnesses in the world. And that's what witnessing is. It is truly sharing the love of God, what you know and believe about God, to the world around you. So this means that every believer, no matter what age or stage you are in life, every believer has a call to share the gospel and to testify about the reality of the resurrection of Christ. I saw a short done by an evangelist earlier this weekend. She made a statement that, I'm starting to pay attention, and I question everybody who's saying the name of God is not talking about God the Father. Everyone who is talking about even naming, I will say, even strength and power and words that we're associated with. But literally, your being a witness is not simply naming the name of God the Father, but it is an acknowledgement of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that is what we are called to witness to a dying world. What does a witness do? A witness, think about it in court. A witness is called into court to speak to the things that he or she has seen or perceived. A witness cannot give you testimony on behalf of another person. It is about what they have seen, perceived, or experienced. And so think about it in that way. Literally, being witnesses for Christ is what we have seen, what we have perceived, what we have experienced having Christ in our own lives. It is the reality of what the resurrection actually means for you, and the ability to talk about its life-changing power, not for your grandmother, not for your mom and dad, but it is what the power of God literally means in your life. And so I think about witnessing as being both it's a privilege. It is also a responsibility. But I'll say this, that witnessing can take on various forms. And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up, because we think it has to look a certain way. But witnessing isn't a collar. Witnessing isn't a habit. Witnessing isn't a schedule for itinerant ministry. But I believe that witnessing takes on many forms, and that depending on your individual gifts, your talents, your abilities, and yes, your access and opportunities, opportunity, God will open up ways for you to be witnesses. And so, yeah, for some people, that does mean preaching. For some people, that means teaching. For some of you, that may be through artistic expression. It could be through dance. It could be through something God gives you to do with your hands. It could be through community service. It can be through meeting the needs of others that you see as you come and go. And so how we get it done, I don't think is as important as the fact that we connect and that we find a way to be witnesses, to show the love of God, to show the joy of God, to show the joy of Jesus in our hearts. And again, I believe we do this as we demonstrate love and compassion through our acts of service, as we serve our communities, as we show compassion and kindness to others, especially those who are in need. So I think that's also important that we share our personal stories. And I say all the time, this is not about telling all of your business, but literally to be able to share with others what God has done in your life and what it means to have him alive in you. What is the transformation that he has made in your life? How do you move or respond differently than you did before you had Christ? How can you share that with others? So again, in this Luke 24 Bible study, these disciples are responding to Jesus after he has appeared after the resurrection. And when Jesus commissions them to be disciples, the assignment is not terribly hard. There are sort of three parts to the assignment of being a witness. Number one, I told you already, it is embracing the resurrection. These disciples were a little bit like, is this really Jesus? I don't know if this is you. And he convinces them by showing them his hands and his feet, allowing them the invitation to come and see and engage with him. The reality of the resurrection in our lives is the same, that Jesus, even if we were skeptics, has met us where we were and allowed us to come close to him and touch him. And he has proven to us that he is real. The second thing is being willing to share your story. And I talked about that. The disciples were witnesses to testify that they had seen the resurrected Christ. And you can testify of your own story to the reality of God in your life. And then thirdly, it does require that we walk in obedience. When Jesus commissioned these disciples to go into all nations, they didn't have all the answers. Even when he told them to go and wait, and I'm going to give you power, they didn't even know how long they were going to have to wait, but they went back with joyful hearts and with hope, and they followed Jesus's directions explicitly. They were obedient. They weren't trying to create their own way to get things done. So we too are called to be obedient. So when you're going to be a witness, I'm not going to lie to you, it can be a little challenging because witnessing does require some of us to step outside of our comfort zones. Maybe you're someone who is, not, and I'll say this, people say, don't say that way now. I am an introvert. I'm an ambivert rather. And so that is that I don't always just walk right up to people and start talking. I have to kind of stand back and assess my environment and kind of think about how I'm going to jump in. And so it can be a little bit challenging to just engage. Maybe sometimes you feel like you don't have the right words. Maybe it's stepping outside the comfort zone. For some people knew who you used to be, and now to hear you as a witness for Christ is like, but whatever that is, even if you're witnessing to someone who may not believe, if you're in an environment that you may consider hostile to the gospel, some people find it difficult because, I don't want to be rejected. I don't want anybody to start making fun of me and ridicule me for my faith. And I definitely don't want folks to start treating me differently because I am a believer. So I want to give you 3 steps to actually becoming bolder in your confident witness of Christ. The first thing I want you to do is pray for courage and boldness. Even as we continue to study, and I'll be doing a lesson coming up on these people once they move into the formation of the new church in Acts. But they pray for boldness in their witness. And I believe that you and I can pray for the Holy Spirit to give us courage and confidence to share our experience and to witness to others. Ask God to even give you the heart for evangelism. Ask him to open your eyes to see opportunities around you. And I promise you, even if you have those places where you don't feel super comfortable, ask God to create a space. And when I say that, I believe that God provides windows of opportunity that match our level of comfort. And so, no, you may never get up in the pulpit and preach a message, but you may pass someone in the grocery store. You may pass someone or be near someone in line at a Walmart, and God will open up a moment just for you to leave a word of encouragement or to share. He may actually open an opportunity in your family or in your friend group through regular, everyday conversation. So pray for boldness, pray for courage, seek support and encouragement. The early church had community. And I believe this, that when you get the right community around you, it is both for fellowship and for the building up of our faith, that we can seek support from others who are successful in sharing their journeys. You can find mentors. You'll find encouragement through the study of God's word. I promise you, the scripture is honestly where I find so much activation for my faith, because I'm looking at real people who have walked out real experiences and what they gained. I can find steps to find that encouragement to do what it is God has called me to do. And again, there are all kinds of people who are mentors, and you can watch how others move, and you can even find encouragement in knowing, man, that person is a witness and they don't do it like this person. And you'll begin to have an appreciation for the unique ways that God allows us to witness. Third, I want you to start small. You don't need to start a YouTube channel. You don't have to pastor a church. You don't have to have these all wild goals. Being a witness doesn't mean, again, it doesn't mean crowds. It doesn't mean big numbers, but it can start with these small acts of kindness. It can start with small conversations around you. Again, look for opportunities around in your workplace, where you get your hair done, where you get your nails done, where your children play sports. If you're on a sports team, if you're in school, wherever those small opportunities are, look for gentle ways and loving ways that you can begin to share your faith, and trust that God will use even those smallest passing by moments. And when your obedience meets that small moment, it will be for his glory. Listen, I want you to be bold and confident witnesses. Ultimately, witnessing is about sharing our everyday lives in a way that others are drawn to Jesus. And the word says that when we lift him up, he does the drawing and he draws others to him. So be encouraged. Share the love of God where you are, whether you are a preacher or not. God has called you to be a witness of his love to the world. So do that today. Share his love, share his power, share his grace with someone. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.